Yo, what's good, YouTube? Zamcrow here, aka Scoop, back with the ICBA D-League Season 2, week number 3, and we're taking on, forgot the team name actually, excuse me, Pittsburgh Huge Powers, that's who it is, and yeah, so let's talk about his team for a minute. So he's packing the Darkrai, the Celesteela, Latios, Shaman, Conkeldurr, Darmanitan, Rabombe, Piloswine, Magneton, Gorbis, and the Minior. So not a bad matchup whatsoever. It's actually a pretty decent matchup. Some really threatening mons in the format: Celesteela, Latios, Darmanitan, Conkeldurr, and obviously Darkrai. But our team combats it pretty well. We have Magearna, Zapdos, Dragonite, Suicune, Crocodile, Bronzong, Alola Marowak, Licky, Donphan, Cryogonal, and Tauros. And so our team is well suited for this team. We do have pretty good Dark Resist, pretty good Steel Resist, Fly Resist, Dragon Resist, etc. That being said, let's see here, how can I word this? I think I'm able to build a safe top team where I can play a lot safer and not really have to make many plays. That was the idea behind the team. We can go ahead and talk about our team actually. We're going to be bringing the Trick Room Calm Mind Magearna with Dazzling Gleam and Thunderbolt with Electrium Z for the Celesteela. Basically, his only resist to Magearna is Darmanitan and Celesteela, both of which aren't appreciating Thunderbolts, and the Magneton. But I don't exactly see the Magneton coming, but if it does, I have ways to beat that as well. I have enough HP investment and defense investment to where I can comfortably take an Earthquake from a Piloswine or a Conkeldurr or a Latios or even a Celesteela that's non-boosted. After 2 rounds of rocks and either a Calm Mind or a Soul Heart boost, I can knock the Celesteela out with the Gigavolt Havoc as long as it isn't like max Spadef or anything like that. And I got a little Spadef investment to take on the Lottie a little bit better. I chose to run an Electrium Z and kind of a check to the Latios. And the Z move helps me be a check, so I can't be tricked, which is pretty nice. Next up, we got a Sub-Toxic Roost Discharge Zapdos, which is mostly a Spadef set. Got a little bit of defense investment and pretty speedy, enough speed to outspeed the Breloom, which my opponent has. I'm not sure, did I go over his team? Yeah, I did. But yeah, I can sub up on, like, for instance, in this match, a pretty good switch into Zapdos would be the Latios or the Piloswine, which I can sub up, forcing the switch, and be behind the sub, and then Toxic either of those mons. While I'm behind the sub, he has to break the sub, and then I can roost up and proceed to discharge or switch out, depending on what he's got. Pretty good check to Celesteela, pretty good check to Conkeldurr. I guess it ends up being mind games with Conkeldurr between Ice Punch and Drain Punch on my roost and whatnot. Let's see, I can take Draco from the Lottie pretty well. I can take the Dark Pulse from Darkrai pretty well. I can take Acrobatics from the Minior, but obviously not the Stone Edge. Next up, we got the Dragonite with the Fire EMZ, Dragon Dance, Dragon Claw, Fire Punch, Extreme Speed, Adamant Nature with enough speed to outpace, I think, max speed Darkrai after a Dragon Dance. Maybe it's Rabombe. Either way, after a Dragon Dance, I outspeed all non-Scarfers. And the Fire EMZ allows me to break through the Celesteela as well as hitting some other things pretty decently hard. extreme speed. So, okay, I guess extreme speed could come in handy, but basically it can check. It can pick things off that were previously chipped down. And adamant dragon nest, just so nice. Next up, we got a choice scarf crocodile, same speed as the Dragonite. So with my scarf, I am faster than all non-scarfers on his team. Knock off, earthquake, pursuit, and stealth rock with intimidate ability. This guarantees me rocks, and guarantees me like pursuit traps on the Lottie. Knock off. It's a pretty good lead. Obviously, he has the Conkelder and the Piloswine, which can lead pretty well against my crook. But outside those two mons, which I can check pretty decently well, he doesn't really have a solid lead answer against my crook. So I can get up rocks, or I can get off a pretty decently strong knockoff with the adamant nature, which is pretty cool. Next up, we got a mixed defense Suicune with leftovers, Scald, Toxic, Substitute, and Calm Mind. This thing basically just eats hits from Darmanitan, eats hits from Latios, eats hits from Darkrai, Celesteela, Piloswine, the Minior as well. So this thing's just generally good against this team outside of Shaman and the Lottie to an extent. Can take hits from Lottie, but can't really do much back. And speaking of Shaman, we do have a decent check in Alolan Marowak, which can take an Earth Power after rocks and proceed to knock out with the Fire Punch. Thick Club boosted, Lightning Rod, so that I think we did have an electric type on this team. Oh yeah, the Magneton couldn't. Like I said, Magneton can potentially be a problem for Maguna and Suicune. So the Alolan Marowak also checks that as well, and it being a Rest Sleep Talk variant with Shadow Bone and Fire Punch, pretty nice. And underneath Trick Room, Maguna's Trick Room, it can put in a lot of work, especially in this match where he doesn't really have a solid check to it. So that's pretty cool. If I can get rocks up, get the proper chip damage, set up a Trick Room with Maguna as I die, and then use all 4 Trick Room turns with Alolan Marowak, and potentially clean up a match that way, which would be cool. Anyways, we can hop into the battle now, I believe. Like I said, I got the Crook lead for rocks. Scarf Crook versus Lottie lead is pretty cool. I kind of predicted the Lottie lead because Piloswine is his only rocker, and Suicune seemed like an obvious lead for me to counter his rocks, considering his rocker versus my rockers, he kind of wins. Like, my rockers are Crocodile and Alolan Marowak, both of which are beaten by Piloswine, so I figured Piloswine was a pretty obvious lead. And it being that obvious, I figured he wouldn't lead with it, predicting me to lead with my Coon to beat his rocker. That being said, I'm predicting him to lead with the Latios, so I'm going to lead with my Crocodile. And we're actually going to get that wrong. He's going to lead with the Minior, but I do rock the Intimidate, so I get a -1 attack to start off, and can just click Knock Off here. Normally I could just get up my rocks, since they're that important. But, this thing can set up, and I don't want that to happen, so just double knock off here and knock the thing out. And so here he goes into this Piloswine. As you can see, he clicks the Ice Shard, and this was a 50-50 because I wasn't sure if he would get rocks up, knowing that I was locked into knockoff and potentially lose his Eviolite while getting his own rocks up, knowing that if I switch out and he gets his rocks up, I die upon entry anyway. And like Ice Shard, Suicune, such an easy switch into Ice Shard, and Ice Shard's so obvious. So maybe I should just switch into Suicune here. And maybe he would have thought maybe my Zapdos or Dragonite has Defog or something like that. Anyways, he gets his Ice Shard, gets the 50-50 right. But here I'm able to bring in my Suicune, go for the Scald, and get the burn. So what the burn means is I'm just going to click sub next. He can't break my sub now. I don't even know if he could have broke my sub before that. But here's where things are getting interesting. Conkeldur's actually a big problem for my team. And here I'm going to switch out to my Zapdos because it's my best answer to Conkelder on my team at this point. He goes for the knockoff though, gets rid of my leftovers. Which is interesting because if I stayed in with Suicune and click sub, I could have maybe not had my sub broken from the knockoff. So he gets the freeze there. It's going to put me on tilt here. Zapdos could have stalled the Conkeldurr out of super effective PP, but the freeze, of course. And I kind of play on tilt from here. Mindlessly try to force the switch. I guess it made sense, though, because if I like Oko or 2-hit KO the Conkeldurr, the rest of my team has a field day, really. But he risks his Kunk, it clicks EQ, catching me off guard as I'm tilted. So now I'm basically switched around so I could get Suicune in. Throw off a Toxic to weaken the Conkeldurr a little bit. Put it in range of like a Dragon Claw from a boosted Dragonite, which is pretty cool. So basically here, my game plan was to poison the Conkeldurr, sack my Suicune, go into the OG Dragon, and play for a crit. Because if I can get an extreme speed crit here on the Piloswine, I can potentially win the game, make a nice comeback here, but I don't get the crit, unfortunately. My opponent will be able to knock me out with the Ice Shard there. And here I'm going to play for a choke. And my opponent actually does choke here. He goes for his rocks as I set up my Trick Room. And if it's Celesteela, if I can get a crit on the Celesteela here with the Gigavolt Havoc, I can still win this game. And could potentially live it here depending on what he goes for. And he goes for the Earthquake though, so it's going to be able to pick me off. Here I'm going to go into my Alola Marowak and use up these 2 turns of Trick Room. Knock this thing out with the Shadow Bone. And now he goes into the Latios. Here I click Shadow Bone because, I mean, basically I had to play for him to choke, and he actually choked twice. I mean, he made some really questionable plays, and some 50-50s and got lucky there. Outside of the 2 chokes, he played actually really well. So, but like I said, he did choke twice in this match. Had I clicked Fire Punch there and the Darkrai died, then he brings the Lottie back in. Maybe clicks Psychic can't knock me out from here. Only Draco can knock me out from here. I don't know if he knows that, but if he does know that, he can't knock me out from here, and he has to go for the Draco, and he plays his cards right, he would have lost the Darkrai, and his last mom would have been Latios. He would have clicked the Draco as I switch out into my Zapdos, lowering his special attack by 1, bringing my Marowak back in at 50%, and with max HP, I live a -1 Draco, and we'll be able to pick that thing off with a Shadow Bone to pick up the 1-0 victory. So, and like he didn't need to risk going out into Darkrai right here. If you let the Alola Marowak kill the Latios, then Trick Room turns are gone, and Darkrai comes in anyway and cleans up the match. So my opponent chokes twice. Got the lucky freeze. So sometimes bad plays are rewarded, but there's nothing we can do about that. And it's Pokemon. It's the game we play, and we choose to play it, so we can't get mad about it. Would have definitely liked to recreate the battle though. Yeah, so Darkrai's going to come in here. You're going to click Dark Pulse and the Ice Beam to finish up the game. And that's going to be GG to Rio and the Pittsburgh Huge Powers. And we're going to fall to 2-1 after starting off 2-0. It's kind of unfortunate, but we can never go undefeated, so no big deal. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. Let me know what you thought about the prep and the battle, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching.